Well, what about the larger numbers? The larger numbers are expressed by additional vocabulary, a word for 100, a word for 1,000, and a word for 10,000. So in the absolute, the word for 100 is mea, with ma'at being the construct form. And then 1,000 is elef. And then there's three different versions of the same thing for 10,000. Ribo, or revava. All three are synonyms, two are homonyms. One spelled with the aleph and one without the aleph. You can also have the plural of 100 for hundreds, me'ot. And then you can have the dual form of it for 200. Matayim would be 200. And then 1,000 is elef. You can have thousands, alafim, with the construct alfei. But then you can have alfayim for 2,000. And then rebot in the plural, rebo in the plural would be rebot, 10,000s. And revavot would be the construct form. And then rebotayim would be 20,000. The number 100 is feminine and takes masculine modifiers. So if you want to say 500, you would say chamesh me'ot, 5 hundreds, but it uses the feminine plural ending there. Or if you wanted to say 5,000, it would be hameshet alafim, 5,000s, and it means 5,000. The syntactical order for expressing very large numbers is not fixed. The most common pattern is the largest number first, 1,000, followed by the next highest number, 100, and so on. The last unit follows the rules of agreement presented in the preceding sections, but the reverse order also occurs. You can have units first, then larger numbers with the noun repeated after each. For example, 77 years and 700 years and 777 years. The following examples illustrate the various patterns. The number 213, you can have matayim, which is 200, shalosha asar, and that would be 3, 10, 13. So 200 and 13. If you wanted to say 503, you could say chamesh me'ot, 5 hundreds, and then shalosha, and 3, 503. If you want to say 1,303, you could say elef, 1,000, shalosh me'ot, 3 of hundreds, 300, shalosha, and 3. 5,206 could be chameshet alafim, 5 of thousands, 5,000. Matayim, and 200, they, and shisha, 6, 5,206. Or 100,000 could be me'at, 100 elef, 100 thousands, and hence 100,000. And then 3,000 305,000 could be shalosh 3 300 ve meshet and 5 elef 305,000. So anyway, that's numbers. The rules are kind of complex. You're, as beginning students, undoubtedly not going to be able to remember how to put all the rules together. But fortunately, as a translator, all you really need to do is to recognize things rather than know the grammatical niceties of exactly, which gender goes with which number and the like. So it's not as hard as going over the grammar portion of it when you're actually just translating, as long as you know the basic numbers as vocabulary items. Well, in terms of vocabulary, here he introduces some new. You have bakar, which is cattle, herd, or oxen. And then you have boker, which seems to be from the same root, but it probably is a homonym root rather than the same root. Boker, which is morning. When I had classes in the morning, I had to greet my class and say boker tov, which is good morning. Kates is end or extremity. And then there is another form of it that's feminine, katseh, and also katsa, end or extremity, end or extremity. They're both synonyms of kates. And then sar is prince or captain or chief. One of the messianic titles in Isaiah 9 is Sar Shalom, Prince of Peace. And then Sarah is princess, feminine form. It's the feminine form of Sar, prince, and uses a proper noun, it's Sarah. And then he gives you some of the numbers to learn. Shanayim is 2, Shalosh is 3, Arba is 4, Chamesh is 5, Shesh is 6, Sheva is 7, Shamoneh is 8, and then Tesha is 9, and Esher is 10. Then he gives you Mea, 100, Elef, 1,000, and Reva'ah or Rebot, 10,000. And if you know those numbers, he also gives you some of the feminine forms that will, if you know them by heart, if you can say them in order by heart, that will be a great start in being able to translate numbers in Hebrew. The exercises will allow you to practice what this chapter has presented, counting in Hebrew. And then when you get to translation, notice that he's actually taking all your translations from the Hebrew Bible. So you should be encouraged that at this point we're able to find examples of texts that have enough vocabulary and enough grammar that you can actually translate verses or parts of verses from the Hebrew Bible. I might comment before we leave this, though. He includes the famous Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, which is recited daily by Orthodox Jews. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. But that word Echad, one, does have other meanings, including only, or alone. And I might note that the word only is really originally from onely, and the word alone was originally from all one. And so it's related to the word one in either case. But a good case can be made that alone or only, I actually learned this from a Jewish mentor at Hebrew Union College, that only or alone fits better, because what else would Israel think? That Yahweh was two, that Yahweh was three, that Yahweh was 100? Saying that a person, Yahweh, is one makes no more sense than to say that Professor Sprinkle is one. Well, of course he would be one. What else would he be? However, if you say that the Lord is our God, the Lord alone, well, that does make sense, because it's a way of reaffirming the first commandment of monotheism, that God alone is their God. Whatever other gods may or may not exist, for them, the Lord is their God, the Lord alone, the Lord only. But anyway, if you were to look at the dictionaries, there is that secondary, though less common meaning of echad, and that comes into play here. I think the NIV margin has the Lord alone as a alternative rendering. Well, now I'd like to do some drilling from Clemens to take up the rest of the video time. My videos are limited to 15 minutes, by the way. And we'll do some more on the next video as well. Mostly translation on the next video. So the first form is tishkachenu. That would be a cal imperfect, either third feminine singular or second masculine singular, plus a pronominal suffix, either a energic noon or paragogic noon plus a who, or a paragogic noon plus a nu. So you get the doubling of the noon because of the paragogic, the extra noon that's thrown in there. But anyway, that gives you then 4 different combinations. It's either she will forget, or you masculine singular will forget, and you will forget either him, who, or us, nu, depending on whether it was originally a who that was added to the paragogic noon, where the hay back assimilates to double the noon, or whether it was a nu that was added to the form to back assimilate to double the noon. Number 2 is pretty straightforward. Nasanu, that's simply a cal perfect. We traveled. Number 13, Vayim Shachehu, is a vav consecutive plus a cal imperfect, or you could say preterite. Third masculine singular with a third masculine singular subject, object pronoun, and that would mean, and he anointed him. Number 4 is Nesauka, which is a cal perfect, third common plural, plus a second masculine singular object suffix, and that means they carried you. And then Yatso is a infinitive absolute from Yatsa, has to do with going out. And then Izvun is an imperative masculine plural plus a third masculine singular object suffix, forsake them. Number 7 is nish Allah. That's a coordinative, let us ask. And that's all we have time for in this video.